Welcome to Too Deep, Hokies Under the Influence. And it is Virginia Tech. This isn't some rinky-dink-ass program.
Come on, JC.
We're going to put those old guys in the grade. We'll go over some of the stats really there. It's the percent. 11.
It's an 11 game.
Welcome to Too Deep, Hokies Under the Influence, a Sons of Saturday podcast brought to you by Jack and Coke. I'm your host, PP. I've got Sam Jesse here. Virginia Tech lost to Wake Forest 30-23, but that is only going to scratch the surface of what we're going to talk about tonight. There's a lot of stuff in the show, a lot of fun stuff, exciting stuff, including pumpkin beer. This is our pumpkin beer episode. This is a picture from the basement just moments ago. Nice grouping of pumpkin beer. I'll get this off the screen so you can see Sam's beer. He's got a spiced lager over there. So this is going to be a lot of fun, dude. Why don't you kick us off with the cheers?
Yeah, man. I can't really cheers to Hokies football, but I can cheer to Hokies wrestling, who picked up two of the most coveted recruits in the nation, one for next year's class, one for the year after that's class. We will talk about them, but a massive, massive shout out to Tony Roby and all of the people involved in that wrestling program. I know a few of them, and they work really, really hard to they've built this program from the ground up over the last couple decades, which we'll talk about. But cheers to the wrestling Hokies.
Yes, cheers to that, man. In case you aren't aware, every year we do a pumpkin beer episode. Just one. Sometimes we have pumpkin beers throughout the season, but we focus on it, try to sample a few. So Sam's got a couple, I got a couple. That's going to be fun. We're also going to get to the voicemails, some stat stuff, some final takeaways from Wake. Of course, the Georgia Tech preview as well towards the end. Wrestling. We're going to do a segment on wrestling real quick, coming up very soon here. A little bit more on the coaching search. Have to touch on that. And, of course, the beer. So make sure you like and subscribe if you're watching on YouTube. And make sure you're following us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Have it set up for automatic downloads. That really helps us out. Also, news regarding Podfeed. There is a separate College Football Monday feed. Now, all of the episodes will still get posted to the Too Deep feed, but we have a specific feed now, a second additional feed that has no one listening to it yet. You're the first to hear about it on Apple, on Spotify, everywhere you find your podcast. You can find College Football Monday, its very own album art feed, whatever you want to call it. So follow that as well, just for the hell of it. And down the road, maybe that will become the only place for it. But right now, you're still going to be getting it posted everywhere. We want you guys to get those episodes. Pick'em leaders. Zach Osman now tied with another person. We got U3 West is the username. U3 West. They're both 40-20.
I hope they're actually betting those games.
Dude, that is ludicrous. Absolutely crazy to have that percentage. They're hitting 2/3 of their picks. We have a couple guys in second at 37 wins. I'm at 26th with 32 wins. I couldn't find Sam on the board. I went searching for you.
I think I'm at like 29. I'm below. It's missing a week. And I'll
you're
be
not
honest,
that far
too.
down, I guess. Do you have 30 wins? Like, what do you have?
Something like that. I'm like 30 and I don't know, but I will say also the last 2 weeks have not been the best actual gambling weeks. If you follow my picks on Twitter, I've been like dead even for like 3 weeks now. So we need some winners. I've been caught at 12 units for a while. We need some winners. We need to pick it back up. I have a big slate this weekend.
I did the walk and talk picks last week, gave you guys 6 picks. Maybe Sam will do it this week. Maybe I'll do it again. That was a Friday feature. Going to try to do that more often. It was fun. And I think if you got them on the right numbers, like I said on Monday, you should have gone 4-2 with those 6 picks. Basketball, ACC Media Days are happening right now. Mike Young is talking about Neo. He's talking about his lineup. We're not going to get too into that, but Ed and I did an interview today that you guys are really going to like. I think Ed and Billy did another interview with someone from the staff. We're going to be hitting you with a lot of basketball content during the bye week. So keep an eye on that. The next couple of days into next week, we'll be getting you some more basketball videos and podcasts coming. Let's get to the wrestling stuff, man. I want to do this before we do Wake, before we do anything else, because as we were floundering against Wake Forest, this news hit, and I had to like check it 3 or 4 different times, 3 or 4 different sources to make sure it was real.
Yeah, that's kind of how you feel about it, right? Like, we're Virginia Tech. We're not supposed to get elite recruits in anything. And then here we are. We just got a 5-star basketball recruit, and now we're getting the equivalent of 2 5-star wrestling recruits. It's pretty crazy. And I admittedly, and I will continue to admit this, I am not the biggest wrestling guy. I haven't really followed it much outside of like watching tech when they happen to be on. I don't really understand the scoring still, even after people tell me about it. But what I do understand is that pretty much every program in the country wanted these two guys, at least one of them. And Virginia Tech got both.
It's true. And this tweet I have on the screen right now is from Bashomania, and Justin Bash runs a great podcast on wrestling if you have any interest whatsoever. And he did a breakdown on this, and we may end up having him on the show at some point soon enough. But the number 1 overall recruit in 2027, Melvin Miller, and the number 2 overall recruit in the class of 2026, Bo Bassett, both committed to Virginia Tech. Now, we'll get to Miller in a second, but Bo has been in the spotlight for a very long time. He has a long list of accomplishments. If you go to, this was from Flow Sports, that they bring with them a lot of high expectations because of what they've done on the world level. Like Bo won a U17 world title in 2021 and a U20 world bronze medal in 2024. Bassett also 2-time Pennsylvania state champion, which is one of the best states in wrestling, if not the best state in the country. And so he's extremely accomplished, and he also has a following on social media that is second to none. And so there is a little bit of like a circus gives it a bad connotation, but there's so much attention on him as a recruit, and there has been. And when he was making his decision in the winter, we were in the mix, although we weren't really being talked about. I think we were one of the Final 4 or Final 5 schools when he chose Iowa. And then he subsequently decommitted from Iowa in June. And we were never really talked about then either. It was Nebraska. It was Oklahoma State. It was, of course, Penn State. And then there would be like, okay. And then there's also like Virginia Tech. Now, once September rolled around, we were in his top 6, top 5, and we were in Miller's top 6 as well come September. But especially for Miller, I don't even think we were on the radar screen.
We're in his top. I saw think like we weren't in his top 9.
We were not in his top 9.
But I think there was like he didn't take an official visit for a while or something like that. And this is like maybe just a more general college sports, but recruiting is very, very fluid, and it is not as black and white as I think a lot of fans imagine recruiting being. Like these guys, a lot of times they'll put out things on social media and they'll have crystal balls leaning one way or the other. And it's never really decided. They flip-flop, they change their minds. New schools offer nowadays, let's be honest, like schools are coming in and offering new NIL packages. And also I believe with wrestling, one thing that really does play into it is if they have another big time commit in your weight class, you might not go there and you might go somewhere else where you are in that weight class.
Yeah.
And to be the top guy. So that is a factor that wrestling has that, football, basketball, other sports might not have. So
really, we have it like if there's 2 quarterbacks in the same class or something.
Exactly. That's pretty much, like you're not going to see 2 top 10 quarterbacks go to the same school. It doesn't really happen. That's a good call out, Pete. I think what the media on the wrestling media on the national scale failed to realize was maybe how close we were the first time. Like in the winter, like if you listen to people that are close to the Virginia Tech wrestling program, like it wasn't so crazy to believe we had a shot. And I remember me and you talking about this on his commitment day or whatever it was in February. And it felt like there was a legitimate chance, and then it didn't happen. And then whatever. Yeah, of course we didn't get him. But when he came to visit a couple weeks ago, him and Melvin Miller were with the team. There was a lot of videos, a lot of like media stuff that went with that. The magic guy
from Virginia Tech.
If you don't know who the magic guy is at Virginia Tech, look him up on Instagram. It's phenomenal.
Did we get Bo Bassett because of magic guy?
Many are saying that.
But they were both there. We saw the videos. It seemed like the visit was going really well. But even myself and my good buddy Brian, who follows this super closely, was like, what are the odds?
Pretty unheard of.
Like, we can beat out Penn State. What are the odds we can beat out Nebraska? And at least we had Iowa out of the way. But OK State, they've been pulling tons of recruits. Let me put up the pound for pound rankings on the screen. So this is pound for pound best wrestlers according to Flow Sports. All classes. So you can see Bo is number 2, pound for pound. Melvin Miller in the junior class is pound for pound number 3. So we have the top 2 of the top 3 in the sport that just committed to us. So it is pretty outrageous. And you can see those 2 blank spots that need to be filled by Virginia Tech on the one side of your screen there.
So
It's
are these commits, or are these like high school kids?
These are high school. Yes.
Okay. So something I find really interesting about that is whoever Bishop McCourt High School is, I don't think they're losing any meets. That's what I've gathered from this graphic right here.
Yeah, they're top notch. And look at Oklahoma State, man.
Yeah.
They have number 1, they have number 5, they have number 6, and they have number 7. You see Penn State on there, you see Iowa State, Iowa, Ohio State. Those are your big boys, right? And Nebraska would be the other big boy. And that's when you think about college wrestling and being in that upper tier. And we'll put Penn State in their own tier because
they dominate the sport at such a level, like, not to demean the competition of it, but it is, my understanding is every year it's like a battle for second place in the team rankings, correct?
They won by a ton this past year.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then but if you look, I mean, Virginia Tech just had Mekhi Lewis won an individual national title. Then you have Caleb Henson who won an individual national title. So like, if you're a top wrestler, and there is a little proof of concept here,
it can
in
be done,
Blacksburg, right?
You can be a national champ from Virginia Tech.
Yeah.
You can absolutely do it. And I still come away it's an insane coup. It's an insane coup to not only get one of these guys. One of these guys would potentially be program changing. To get both of them, who they're brothers, correct? Like, are they?
I think so.
I couldn't
or at
really
least
figure that out. Like, I heard the term de facto brothers.
maybe this is like a
I should know this. I Googled it a couple times.
I don't think they're actually brothers. I think they're like family friends. Maybe it's a Bo Nix and Troy Franklin type situation. I don't know.
They were tied together though. Wherever one wanted to go, the
package
other one
deal
was going to go essentially. And so we're getting 2 for, one recruiting push, more or less.
And what I'm hearing from just looking on Twitter and things, so many people are saying the same thing. This is great for the sport of college wrestling. We didn't need more dominant guys to go to the same 2 or 3 schools. Like, it is so good to get them not only out of the Big Ten, because the Big Ten conference was just dominating everything in the sport, but also to get them to an ACC school and to get them to Virginia Tech. It does feel like a win for the sport. And I think it is really nice to be the good guys in a sport, especially like a smaller sport like wrestling. I do feel like Virginia Tech wrestling is going to have a bit of national attention that it really hasn't. And the ACC in general hasn't had it to the level that the Big Ten has. So really, really exciting stuff, man.
It is. And I think about, we'll leave Penn State at number 1, clear tier. They are that. Once these guys get to school though, Tony Roby's not stopping at these 2. He's Caleb Henson has another year. Now he'll be gone by the time, Bo gets here. And it will be interesting to see what Bo wrestles at, because last time he wrestled, he was at 65 kilograms, which is right between 140 and 150. So is he going to be 141? Will he be 149? I think just based on age and the fact that he can still grow, 149 seems likely, but he has a really good potential sparring partner in Caleb Henson to work with over the next year or 2, or however long Caleb decides to stick around. I mean, we just saw Sam Latona stick around, and he's part of this recruiting effort. I mean, I know the relationship's been going on for a while, and Sam just got on the recruiting staff, but hey, what a great start.
I mean, I said at the beginning, but I have one of my close friends' brother-in-law is involved in the wrestling program, and like, they put in so much thankless work. And nobody talks about it, and it's not on national TV, and you don't have blogs and podcasts about it and stuff. And they just grind away, and like, they have built this program from, I didn't know this until recently, but Virginia Tech almost got rid of wrestling a couple of decades ago. It was on the chopping block. And
wasn't that like 2000, mid 2000s?
Yeah, 2005, 2006, something like that. And then now it's one of the national powers and defending ACC champions.
It seems like
crazy.
we were already been in the top 10 a lot over the past couple years. But when you talk about getting right behind Penn State, you look at your Oklahoma States, you look at Nebraska, you look at Iowa, maybe Iowa State as well, Ohio State. This would put us firmly in that second tier. Once these guys are here and we continue to recruit and continue to build out the program even more so, we're in that next echelon. And these programs, like Penn State's not going to be forever, right? Like it seems like it right now, but they're not going to be and hey, they just stole Jaden James. Let me put this back on the screen. Remember when Jaden James was committed to Virginia Tech? He's 4th on this list. He decides to decommit and go to Penn State. We got the 2 guys ahead of him. So they were talking about this on the Bashmania pod, though. Did that mean we freed up money to get these 2 guys? We heard
possibly.
We heard Bo was going to get $5 million to go to Iowa. Like, I don't know what they're ended up getting from Virginia Tech, but it's hard to fathom that we just paid that times 2 potentially.
That's
but
crazy.
If the funding's there from the Southeast Regional Training Center, like, let's go.
Are we doing like pay-per-views for the wrestling meets? I don't know, man.
We should be, but one thing, if I do get a chance to talk to Justin Bash and we have him on the show, I would want to ask him, how secure are these commitments in his mind? Because we're still a long way from the finish line, not only with Melvin, which is a while, but even Bo. I mean, it's October, we've got a little while till he enrolls. In wrestling in general, what I'd be curious about is how often do these guys stick with their commitments? We've seen Bo decommit once. And
we saw one of our guys decommit.
Right. So, but does that mean like the second one sticks normally? Like, I don't know how it works in that sport. If it was football, we know that anything can happen at any given moment.
If it's football, you don't want to be the guy that they commit to first.
Right. And I talked about the weight with Bo, like 141 or 149. And Miller is actually at 165 right now. So he has a chance in 2 years to be 174, 184. Big boy. So
that's a pretty normal size person, actually. Like,
I know. Well, Ed Ventresca's running at like 125. So wrestling it's
crazy.
It's different.
Sense of scale is way off.
They will be wrestling on 10-11 on Flow Sports in the Who's Number 1 competition. And Melvin Miller is facing the number 3 guy, Maximus Dabolt from Iowa. And Bo is going to be facing Jordan Rainey from Kentucky. And that's, like I said, taking place on October 11th. So you won't have to wait long. Bo's wrestling 150, Melvin at 165. So just something to keep in mind if you guys want to check that out.
I never want to wrestle anyone named Maximus.
I am Maximus. So what's the quote? And then the meme's like, I am Jeff. Like, you've seen that where like the guy's like, he's doing the gladiator thing. And then it's I am Jeff. Anyway, moving on, let's take our first beer break. And then we're going to talk about Whit Babcock and the messaging that's coming out of the football program and the coaching search.
All right.
Sam, what are you drinking?
I am drinking one of the classics and kind of, I would say, a local favorite in the fall, the pumpkin spice lager from Devil's Backbone Brewing Company in Lexington, Virginia. And you can find them all across kind of the mid-Atlantic region. This is a pretty run-of-the-mill standard pumpkin spice beer. It's not too spicy. It's not too sweet. It does feel like everything they have in this beer is really even, really level. It's only 5.2%, so you can down a few. I was at my favorite wing spot in Norfolk a couple last week and had like 2, and they go down easy. Great with food, a great beer with food if you're looking for something. So yeah, I mean, I give this a 3.75. It's a really good pumpkin beer. Nice autumnal colored can with oranges. Matches the College Football Monday background actually really well.
Not too bad.
Yeah, so it's a really good beer. I like it. If you see it, grab it. Good one.
I am drinking the Fat Orange Cat Cautionary Tale Pumpkin Ale. Cool little graphic.
Oh yeah, I've seen that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is from Connecticut. My cousin brought this down, and it is phenomenal. He brought me a couple. The first one was just okay, but we both agreed this is an 8% ale. A little bit of vanilla in there. You obviously get the spice flavor. It's dark too. Let me just.
Yeah, I'm doing like 3 different half pours tonight. So
yeah, so you can see how dark that is. Definitely resembles a brown, but
it is.
So
you can see the difference in color on these 2 beers. Yeah.
Yeah.
Much lighter on the Devil's Backbone.
This thing is just full of flavor. And when you can see that color, you see it's 8%, you're hoping you're going to get that flavor. Cautionary Tale Pumpkin Ale. I'll give this, I'm going to go 4. I really liked it when I had it the other day, and I'm really liking it now. So let's go with that. All right, man. Let's go to Whit's podcast with Bill Roth and subsequent reaction. We're not going to rehash the whole thing, but if you guys remember, me and Sam were applauding the media tour that was happening. We got, was it Thamel talking about us on College Game Day, talking about the money we're going to get, changing the narrative about Virginia Tech. Then we got Bruce Arians on Pat McAfee talking about we're going after a GM and his expertise and how well he's respected. And this is awesome. Like huge followings, huge like places, eyeballs to see Virginia Tech being talked about positively. And then Whit goes and throws cold water on it when talking to Bill Roth, saying, we're not going to be doing that. We're not hiring a GM first. We're hiring a coach first, which I don't have a problem with the way you want to do it, but get on the same page and make sure people aren't saying opposite things.
Yeah, this is why he doesn't do media, because every time he opens his mouth, he makes it worse. And I'm sorry to be harsh about it, but it is true. And it does feel like the less we hear from Whit Babcock, the better.
Typically.
And it's just so disappointing because it felt like they were so close. And we can get into some of the more details when he talks about, because I think he talks about a lot of good things, and Bill Roth always does a good job setting up those conversations to be a good balance of informative but state-run media type things, which is understandable. But overall, my takeaway from that conversation was I was a little disappointed in it seems to be doing a skeet skirt.
It didn't
a little bit
give you the warm and fuzzies.
No, I'm not. I wasn't stoked about it.
No, you don't come away with it like, oh man, we are going in the right direction. Because that's what it was starting to feel like. Like it really did. The vibes were good. Just a week or two ago.
It's a buzzkill, man.
And it's still odd to me, and we had a long conversation about this a couple weeks back, that Whit is still here. It is odd to me.
So something that I've been thinking about, and I haven't gotten my 2 cents in on the literal thousands of text messages that we've had on this subject.
Yeah.
But if you submit and approve a substantial budgetary increase into your organization, that's probably not the time that you're going to vote on a change of leadership as well. And so even if he is taking a reduced role in football, I think it would have been a really hard ask for the Board of Visitors and for the university as a whole to make that leadership change at the same time as making the budgetary increase. I think that would have been a tough ask.
It was the overlap of it all. It's tricky.
Exactly.
I agree that it's tricky, but we've had the guy hire 2 coaches and it failed both times. All the pushback that we've talked about on the chain, though, because me, you, a bunch of the guys from Sons of Saturday, we've gone back and forth on this a million times of like, this seems messy, but like, okay, he's only going to be in charge of the non-football sports, maybe, I think. Like, everyone's making it up. No one really knows, and it doesn't seem like Whit really knows either.
That was my point. I was like, do you think he knows?
No.
Like, do you think anybody knows? That's kind of where I'm coming around to, like, oh shoot, I don't think they're not communicating. I think nobody knows the answer. So if they say both answers, one of them is going to be right. And I also point to, why people thought it was happening this month. I thought it was happening this month. It still might. We're early in October, right? But
supposedly he's talking to the media early next week.
I feel like I heard that last week. Pete, yeah, I don't know.
We did hear that last week.
So I would also point out that if you are hiring somebody for $6 to $8 million a year, they probably will only sign on to that if they know who their boss is and who their boss's boss is. So if you're trying to hire a GM who would subsequently be under your athletic director, you're probably not going to sign a very good GM if you can't tell them who their boss is. And so even if you have to have a little bit of like a shadow commissioner aspect going on behind the scenes, and then you throw Whit Babcock out there as your puppet AD, you might have to do that. Now, I don't know if anyone in Blacksburg's that savvy, and I don't think that's how they run things. But I don't really I don't buy the fact that Whit Babcock is making the final decision on who the next head football coach is going to be, even though that's what he said on the podcast.
Yeah. So essentially, what we were led to believe is that the committee, which we'll talk about the committee in a second, the committee will choose a final list of candidates, and then Whit, Tim Sands, and John Rakovich will make the final decision. The final decision. And okay, sure. But that means Whit Babcock gets a third chance to hire a football coach at Virginia Tech, which we were always told wasn't going to be the case by him. We were told,
it was an impossibility. And that's kind of why I don't think it's happening. I don't.
You think like Monday morning we'll hear that he's resigning or something?
I don't believe that Rakovich is going to allow that to happen. I don't believe that Tim Sands is going to allow that to happen. And I think
allow what to happen? Allow the choice to
allow him to make the choice.
Okay.
I think you say what is the there's a political movie or show, and I'm blanking on it, and I'm sorry, this is bad podcasting, where he puts the 3 manila envelopes on the president's desk in the Oval Office, and he's like, all right, here's option A, option B, option C. We're going to go with option C, but here are the 3 options. I think that's what we're going to have happen here. He's going to say, coach 1, coach 2, coach 3. We're going to go with coach 3, but here are your options. That's how I'm envisioning this process going. That is messy. That is gross. That is a sincere lack of leadership. But unfortunately, for a multitude of reasons, I just think that's where Virginia Tech is right now.
Yeah. We'll come back to that in a second. Let's talk about the committee, because we never got a chance to even tell people who's on the committee. And you're not going to know most of the people, but the 3 ones you should know is Bruce Arians, Bud Foster, and Eddie Royal. Those are your football people on this committee, the ones that everyone's talking about. The other ones are a mixture of visitors and donors and whatever else. But it's 8 people on this committee.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm going to just trying to...
Are you looking for the names?
Yeah, I'm gonna look for a list of names so I don't leave anybody out. But
Chris Coleman said that the committee was probably a little too big, in his opinion. David Teal said the exact same thing. 8 is probably a few too many, and I tend to agree with him. I know our friend Robert Irby said more is better. I have an opinion of just too many cooks.
Yeah, and I think it's fair to say Bruce Arians, Bud Foster, and Eddie Royal are your football guys in the room, and they can evaluate the coach from an X's and O's standpoint better than anyone else. And I think that's good. And I also think they'll do it from a GM perspective as well, because, Eddie Royal has been an NFL player. He's been involved with NFL GMs quite a lot. And then Bruce Arians as well as a coach and all that stuff has as well. But then you have some other, Bridget Berman, and Bridget Ryan Berman, I think goes by Ryan Berman. And then Lynn Dowdy. So Lynn Dowdy was the CEO and chairman of KPMG, little tiny company called KPMG.
Yeah, kind of a big deal.
Consistently named like one of the leading CEOs, top 50 women in business. Like, she knows her shit. She's really, really sharp.
Oh, and I don't mean any of my commentary on the committee being too big, saying that none of these people are qualified or geniuses or whatever. Like, they're all way smarter than me. Like,
Berman was CEO of, Victoria's Secret and Giorgio Armani and all that stuff. I think they can maybe attack this from a more organizational leadership standpoint. How are you going to use your money? How are you going to inspire people around you, build the team around you, all that stuff? And then you have a few members of the board of visitors who are going to, in my mind, be like fly on the wall, report back to Rakovich, but also how are you going to work with the university as a whole and the board of visitors and work within your budget and all of that stuff. So to me, I kind of see this 3-pronged approach with who they brought in. It could just be 8 random people that they found to say yes. I don't know. I would not put that past them. But the people who they do have involved are like some of the best of the best.
They're smart. They're smart people.
Yeah.
And they're and more, a good percentage of them are football people. So that's all good. I don't know if any of them have ever had experience with hiring a coach before.
Dude, maybe Lynn Dowdy might know ball. You don't know.
She might. I mean, Bruce Arians has been hired as a coach.
Yeah, I think it's fair to say Bruce knows.
Yeah. So, I mean, Bruce knows coaches. He hires assistants. Like, he's done that throughout his career. He's the Kevin Bacon of football. He knows everybody, like good contacts. So I think there's a lot of capable people. When you think of the best run companies in the world, the ones that are innovative and put the products out there that we all want, like a lot of them have one elite tastemaker that's in charge and the culture comes down from. And then I see a committee of 8 trying to make a unified decision that are probably not in Blacksburg altogether or probably not anywhere altogether. Yeah. I just look at this from the outside. If I was seeing this and this was UVA's process going on, I'd be like, okay, this looks pretty good for us. This doesn't look like they got anyone in charge.
I mean, they don't have the benefit of the doubt.
No.
That's for sure. You know, I think we almost anticipate it falling apart horrifically.
Well, yeah, we've been kind of, we've been conditioned to believe the worst can happen, but maybe only good happen. What's I can't remember the exact. Nothing bad.
Nothing bad.
It can only good happen.
It can only good.
But yes, they seem to have defanged Whit, and yet he may be part of the final decision. Maybe he'll be the one talking to agents, as we've been maybe led to believe, because he has a lot of experience dealing with agents. But does that mean he's in charge? And Billy asked that question online today. Who is in charge in our athletic department? It is very unclear. And then will the coach have 2 bosses in a GM and an AD? Will he have one boss, just the GM? Will he be the boss and the GM will report to him? Nobody knows. Nobody knows. Maybe they have a plan in-house, but who's they? Because if no one's in charge, whose plan is it?
Well, right. After the committee, like after they hire the coach, then what's the committee going to do? Nothing. So then
I don't know. The committee thought they were hiring a GM first, and now they're hiring a coach first.
So the power bestowed upon them by the committee of 8 that does not exist anymore after the hiring happens, like it is. Yeah, man. Oof.
It seems convoluted, and it's concerning. But that still doesn't mean that the way this process shakes out, you've got capable people on a committee that can come up with the right choice. You bring in a Dan Mullen, a Matt Campbell, a Ryan Silverfield, and okay, let's ride. You know, like that's what it's going to be like once we get the coach. But I just wish some of this was a little cleaner. I wish we had a real AD, because if we did, you don't need a committee of 8 to make your coaching search. You have an AD who may hire a firm or hire out or talk to some people, but it's his call. Right now, we don't know whose call it is ultimately. Mm-hmm. Maybe it's Rakovich, maybe it's Sands and Rakovich, maybe it's Whit and those 2, but we don't really know. And so that's where we are with the coaching search.
Big game for Alex Golish on Friday night.
Yeah, I'd say he's got a show me something game against North Texas in a big AAC matchup.
What if we might want him to lose that game? Because that might lower the price on Alex Golish just a little bit.
I think he is going to be one of the more sought after guys for maybe not Virginia Tech. I don't know that he is as much on our radar screen as other guys. In my head, again, this is me thinking, but Oklahoma State seems like a place he could end up. Arkansas seems like a place he could end up. I would see them before us. We also talked about the Bill Belichick thing on Monday, about how like it looks like he is going to be gone.
God, they're worse than us
out today. Like, so they're going to be in potentially the search for a coach as well.
I don't love that.
Depth chart injury update. Let's talk a little Wake here. Out for Wake, Chris Ellis didn't play, which sucked. I thought we had the entire starting offensive line because the depth chart that I saw did, but then someone posted on our YouTube like Cunningham wasn't out there, and they were 100% correct, and that completely slipped my mind. So we did not have Cunningham, and then Garrett got hurt. So one of the reasons they were constantly in our backfield again was because the O-line wasn't healthy. Woodson missed the game. Reddish missed the game along with a lot of other guys. So in the game itself against Wake Forest, we gave away 3 points early on the interception / fumble / Kyron not being able to hold on to the ball, but we held them. They kicked the field goal. We got up 14-10 before Wake scored 2 touchdowns right before the half, thanks to the comedy of errors which was what we talked about on Monday. 24-14 at the break, Wake Forest. John Love was our only source of points in the second half. He had 3 field goals. He did have a miss to get us to 23. And Wake also only scored field goals, but they had a critical drive at the end of the game, which helped kill the clock. And we showed nothing on offense in terms of being able to get down the field and get a touchdown to tie it. Like, there was very little faith, at least from me, when we're going into that last drive with limited time left.
Yeah, I mean, just a horrifically disappointing effort. The narrative coming out of the media availability on Tuesday was actually the guys tried too hard, and that was the problem. That's a load of shit.
Monty said, right?
That's a load of shit. Like,
they try. Well, what was he trying to say? Do you?
He was trying. I think he was trying to hammer home effort isn't the problem.
I actually do believe that.
I believe that. I also believe they're just kind of stupid.
Well, and they made a lot of stupid plays, that's for sure.
I think that is kind of, unfortunately, kind of an unfixable thing at this point. The lack of discipline on the team is so apparent, and it's so multifaceted in so many areas. I don't know if you really fix it in season. It's kind of like having something wrong with your golf swing. You're not going to fix it on hole 12. So it does that feels like where we're at for that.
Yeah.
And I would also say what's really disappointing is, and this is somewhat uncontrollable at this point, it's definitely, but the guys we were so excited about going into this season, and the guys who I think played really well against NC State and led to that victory, weren't on the field this week. And
yeah, in the second half, we didn't have Terry on, and we'll talk a little bit more about this after the voicemails and everything. But you're right. No Chris Ellis, no Terry on. Garrett got banged up. Cunningham wasn't out there, and we if we're gonna beat teams, even a Wake Forest, one, you can't make as many mistakes as we did, but two, you need your guys. You need playmakers to make plays. Let's do a quick. Can I do a dramatic reading of my first half tweets here? I talked about this on Monday too.
Yeah, I'm ready for this. This is great.
You want to go? Do you want to hum Sarah McLachlan in the background? No, I'm kidding.
We'll get demonetized on YouTube.
This is from the beginning of the first half. Unbelievable stupidity. Well, now we've handed them 17 points. What the actual fuck? This is an incredibly stupid half of football. The amount of mistakes is mind-boggling. I'm at a loss. This team is infuriating. I'd say that's the worst half of Tech football I've seen in a while, but there are 2 worst halves just this season. And that was the first half, brought to you by Pete's tweets there.
You can play some like clown music for the second half? Or
yeah, a little Benny Hill. All right, let's do the voicemails, ad read, and then I'll get your story of the game. Here are the voicemails, guys.
Still early in the game right now, but do we know if Ben Bell has a brain in his head? What is wrong with this guy?
Soft football does not work. Period. Point blank.
I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed.
The games lost by penalties are always the most frustrating ones to me. The penalties on the defense, extending drives, giving them points.
They came out totally unprepared and undisciplined, and I'll say it again, death, taxes, Ben Bell roughing the passer.
Had every opportunity to win, but didn't because they just beat themselves.
It's all too much for me. I need them to either just lose right away or stop being like just barely bad enough.
I cannot believe that we let it slip out of our damn fingers. When your defense stinks, you have to be able to go for it on offense. If you don't get it, at least you gave it a damn shot.
Robbie Ashburn really wanted to throw interceptions. There were so many times we could have gotten one. We only got one, and then we couldn't punch it in.
I am very sure that if Stewart was healthy in the game, we would have had that touchdown after that interception. That was the turning point of the game right there.
Especially passing game is just awful.
Body language from number one is honestly pretty terrible. Just like consistently slouching his shoulders.
A public service announcement out there. Look at the next 6 games on our schedule. It's basically against the top 6 teams in the conference. So unless you're going to the game, don't watch these games on TV.
spend time with your family and friends, go on a hike, go to the pumpkin patch with your partner. Don't spend your fall watching these games on TV. You can just listen to the recap on Too Deep during the week if you want to know what happened.
As the Hokies lose another football game. Another bad football game.
So that last call was some kind of AI song about the Hokies losing football games. And the whole thing got sent to the voicemail. It was a very it was hard to hear it. So I cut that just last section of it. I'm not going to play the whole song anyway.
Yeah.
Whoever sent that in, if you have the entire song as an MP3, send it to 2deepvt@gmail.com.
Send it to Morgan Wallen. He might need another hit.
But we had Chris Givens on there, who's been on the show before, talking about don't watch these games at the end of the year.
It is so.
I'm going to be watching. And I know a lot of you will too. And I know where Chris is coming from. Go to a pumpkin patch, enjoy your family and friends. That's what those guys who quit the Panthers podcast were talking about. They spent too much time talking about a bad football team. They quit. You're not going to get that from me and Sam. We're not going anywhere.
No, we're stuck here. We're stuck. It does feel like though that this felt like the teetering on the edge of the cliff game, right? And it was like, if you win this one, people are in for the season. Like we're bought into the season because there's a bowl game on
3
the
wins in a
horizon
row.
potentially, right? This loss, I think, is for the casual fan. It is now totally out, and
we've seen that a little bit this week already. I mean, Bill and Pat have put out 2 episodes this week. We put out an episode this week, and it's a little bit, you can see the number. We know what we're doing. I've been here a million times. I've seen this before, and you're right, Sam. We win that game, people get a little bit more locked in. They get a little bit more excited. Hey, maybe we can beat Georgia Tech. Maybe we can beat Miami. We'll be on our home field. Just got to win in homecoming. But that is not what happened. And okay, I need your story of the game, but I got to do this ad read. Too Deep Hokies Under the Influence is brought to you by Jack and Coke. 2 legends, 1 can, Jack and Coke. You guys can see the can right on your screen. The #1 cocktail in the world is now available in a can. Yes, it's true. Jack Daniel's Tennessee whiskey mixed with Coca-Cola or Coca-Cola Zero Sugar, now available in a can at your local grocery and convenience stores. We talk about Jack and Coke every week. They are a great sponsor for us. They pick up what we're putting down in terms of, we like to have a few libations. We like to get loosened up, talk about the Hokies, talk about our favorite sports teams. We're both dealing with some playoff anxiety right now. Sam and his guards, me and my fills that are on the chopping block tonight, potentially. We shall see. But you know what helps it all go down a little bit easier? Jack and Coke, beer, whatever it might be. So make sure you're grabbing those Jack and Cokes at your local grocery store. Load them in the cooler, take them to tailgates, have a good time. And when you are drinking them, make sure to always drink responsibly. Sam, what was your story of the game?
My story of the game was lack of discipline, and not just in penalties, but I think in terms of just assignment football. There are some very basic assignments throughout the team that weren't executed, and that it just can't happen at this level of football, Pete. We can't. We can't be doing that. Mike put out a really good Hokie hitter, and he could have put out hours of content from this game of just missed assignments, missed reads. The penalties are one thing. Like sometimes you have those games, right? Sometimes that happens.
Mm-hmm.
It's everything else too, that you were clearly the better team and you just kept screwing up play after play.
I mean, you usually don't see penalties like this. I mean, let me go. Through
go through it.
The critical penalties. And
beer.
I'm not going to belabor it, but the 2 15-yarders on 3rd down, which ultimately extended drives and led to points. Ben Bell late hit, Spencer sideline hit. The holding call before the half stopped the drive dead, led to 7 points to Wake. And they were able to get the ball back, and we had, and this is what you're talking about, because we also had the drop pass. We also had a guy running out of bounds when we're trying to kill clock. Dumb stuff. The unsportsmanlike on Donovan Green potentially cost us 4 points because we were at the goal line. The covering up of the center, which we didn't even talk about on Monday, which was, I think, a little bit of a bogus call. Normally, the ref kind of gives you a head nod, like, "Hey, I didn't think he was particularly covered up, but they called it, cost us. And then the pass interference at the end, which cost us time and another third down penalty. Like, it prevented us from getting off the field and giving our offense a chance, which needed every chance they could get because they were struggling.
Yeah, it's just I think the late hit on the quarterback by Ben Bell was pretty egregious. Like, he had to hurdle a guy and then take another step in order to hit the quarterback.
It was
about as late of a late hit as you see.
And he buries him. I mean, every time Ben Bell does one of these, he is not a soft hitter, man. No. He has taken guys down.
The push on Ashford out of bounds, I thought was pretty soft.
It was a little soft.
But and it's the same as the covering up the long snapper on the field goal. You can't do it.
Yeah, you can't.
You don't put yourself in that position to let the officials make the call against you. Just don't do it. And that's just the lack of discipline from this team that time and time again, like, this is the second time Donovan Green has gotten caught being handsy after the whistle right in front of the official.
Oldest
Dude,
guy
you've
on
been
the
in
team,
college
basically.
football for 6 years.
Yeah.
Figure it out. You can't do that if you're an outside wide receiver. You can't do it. Just don't do it. It's just so disappointing, and it's so, it is so quintessential Virginia Tech football over the last few years.
I mean, honestly, man, I wouldn't go that far, like the quintessential thing, because I don't know if I've ever seen this many one-off mistakes like this all collected.
I think the gravity of the errors when they happened was pretty unique.
Yes, that's what I'm referring to.
But it's not surprising that Virginia Tech lost the game this way.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
That is true. And to your point on, it wasn't just the penalties. Think about the goal line stand that they stuffed us 3 straight plays. What was going on with the play calls in that situation? I mean, we just ran it straight into their gut, which, despite Wake having this like new retooled line, that's a good defensive line. They gave us problems all day
too. It's a big defensive line too.
And you're just going to ram right into them. A little bit more creativity there would have been nice.
Yeah.
And you could make the argument, like I made the other day, like 27 of their points probably came from one of our mistakes.
Yeah, I mean, it looked a little bit like the Georgia Tech game last year, where Georgia Tech clearly wasn't all hands on deck offensively, but Virginia Tech was playing well enough on defense, like, really stop them.
Mm-hmm.
The difference was when they did stop them, they did something stupid. And it led to them just continuing the drive. And you can't ask your defense to get that many stops in a row, especially a defense that is really, really thin now because they've had a bunch of guys either injured or enter the portal. So now you have a thin, inexperienced defense that's having to play a lot of plays.
You were pretty harsh on the defense on Monday. Do you have anything that you'd like to recant or revisit?
It's tough because a few of the players that I thought were going to be leaders and really good players on this team aren't on the field. And quite frankly, haven't been on the field much all year.
Mm-hmm.
Right. I mean, I thought Caleb Woodson was an all ACC guy, and he's not involved right now.
Jonkum, we thought was going to be a huge.
Jonkum, we thought was going to be
Dante
huge. Dante Lovett played like a dozen snaps. I'm pretty sure Jonkum and I have the same number of TFLs this year. Like, it's continuous. It continues. Michael Short was a guy that they brought in for a depth piece. He's not playing anymore.
Mm-hmm.
The defensive backfield was supposed to be deep, and it's not anymore. It's thin and young, and it's just like,
and it's starting to show on the stat sheet. And that's something you were talking about, is that if you look at the numbers, which include the game against ODU, which I'd like to throw out, but you can't, and you can't throw out the second half against Vanderbilt, we're 121 in opposing passer rating allowed.
Yeah.
121. It's a bad secondary. It's a very bad secondary. Despite Chris Ellis making the play of our year against NC State, it's not good in the back end. We've also given up a score in the red zone every time the other teams had an opportunity in the red zone. Last place, tied for last in FBS, 22 of 22, the other team scores in the red zone.
Yeah, and I don't know if you have the graphic up.
Oh, I do.
For the Havoc. So if you're watching us on YouTube, which you should, this will work. Yeah, this is actually hold on, this might be a different one. This might be
This
havoc
is
allowed.
havoc allowed by position group.
Yeah, so this is havoc allowed. I think this might be offensive, but so this might not be what I want to talk about. But
No,
anyways,
havoc percentage of plays where defense had a TFL, forced fumble, interception, or pass deflected.
this is
secondary.
allowed.
I thought
So
you were
this
talking
is like
about defense.
offensively we're allowed.
Okay.
I think I put in the wrong one. This actually might go back to my error from earlier.
It's all
anyways.
good.
I'll put it this way: Virginia Tech's defensive backs aren't doing anything. They're not intercepting passes. They're not knocking down passes. Wake Forest had guys running wide open, and we're really lucky Robbie Ashford sucks at throwing the ball because he missed some wide open wide receivers. Like the defensive backs are bad, and the defensive front seven good enough to hang, but again, it's these little mistakes here and there that add up, and a lack of detail, a lack of discipline. And now you're putting more pressure on your inexperienced, thin defensive backfield that already isn't that good. It's just bad football.
I think about the secondary we had last year. If they had played this game against Robbie Ashford, Dorian Strong, Mansour Delane, Keontae Jenkins, etc., whatever, Mose Phillips, even that, which wasn't perfect as a defensive backfield, would have feasted the other day. Like Dorian wouldn't have let any of these guys get a catch, and we got the one interception, which was great, but we couldn't score off of it. And every ball was a duck. Every freaking ball was a duck. And then there was no one there to defend it. And so sometimes it would fall incomplete or we'd knock it down, or it was so bad that, it would go over their heads. But they eventually caught those balls because the secondary was playing so poorly. And they had, the one kid running through the middle of the field. And I'll credit Ashford, but he's a terrible quarterback. We knew that going in. He can't throw. He showed that he couldn't throw, and somehow he beat us because it was just that bad out there.
I also think the pass rush is really disappointing.
Well, yeah.
I think losing Jochum hurts that a lot, but it just felt like every time he got pressure,
we don't have Burgos either.
Yeah, every time we got pressure, it was so slow, and he was able to move out of the pocket around it. And there was a couple of times as well where linebackers moving laterally, they'd run a little pitch out to the outside or run outside or do a wide receiver screen. They were feasting on the wide receiver screens for 5-6 yards a pop. Just the lateral quickness is not there for Virginia Tech's defense. And there was a couple of plays where you would expect an FBS power conference defense to get a tackle for loss in some of those situations. And we had guys either tripping over their own 2 feet or just being so slow that they couldn't get there. And also, by the way, Wake Forest's best player didn't play most of this game.
Yeah, Claiborne didn't play most of the game. We know Stewart didn't play either, but Claiborne, far and away, their best player on offense. And he played very little in this game, and we could barely get anything. And you're right. It was talking about the Benny Hill music. That's what it looked like watching our guys tripping and falling. And they were getting in the backfield. They were getting pressure. They could never get home. They could never bring Ashford down. And I want to point out some of the bright spots, but it was a frustrating day from the defense. The red zone thing, dude, there are 4 teams in FBS that have allowed more red zone scores than us. It's Stanford, Georgia State, Eastern Michigan, and Sam Houston. Those are 4 terrible teams. And those are the only 4 that are worse than us in terms of allowing red zone. Noah Chambers, I will congratulate you because you are a true freshman and you are balling out. I love that kid. I hope he stays at Tech. 4 tackles, a hurry, and a pass breakup. He deserves a round of applause. Ben Bell, he made the stupid play, but he had 9 tackles and a hurry. And if he could just not make the dumb play, he would be really effective.
Yeah, I think there's still talent on this defense, and there's still reason for optimism, especially if they get Ellis back, and who knows what's going on with Caleb Woodson. But it just feels like such an uphill battle the rest of the season when you look at the offenses they have left to play. There's just no break. And I just feel like it's going to continue to get worse for this unit because I don't think they're getting healthier at any point. And the competition gets harder. It's not looking good.
I know, but it's funny how this result, because of 10 penalties or whatever it was, changes your opinion. Because a week ago, it was that defense held a really good offense down. Like they're gonna have games where they do way better than expected. And whether Claiborne was out or not, we were still good against the run. We only gave up 347 yards total. It's a weird offense. We made a ton of mistakes and they got the best of us. Let's talk about our offense quickly and then we'll move on. But Kyron, 14 of 28, that's 50% completion for 111. Not a good average. The offense looks disjointed. And we said on Monday, we can't just sit back and rail on Kyron Drones every time. 263 yards of offense at home versus Wake is a bigger problem than just Kyron Drones. They're not getting the most that they could out of him. They're just not with the system and offense that they're running.
No, they're not at all. And you can point to the offensive line as well as an issue. I think the offensive line struggled in pass protection again.
Don't pass it. I'll fix that real quick. Don't pass
it's also, this is the second defense that has just ran 2 high safeties the entire game against Virginia Tech. First one was Wofford, but then you had a Wake Forest did that against Virginia Tech. And that seems to be the key to stopping any sort of passing game, because that takes away that, you call it what you want, call it a 9 route, call it a go route, whatever, down the sidelines from Donovan and or Aiden Green. If you take that away, this offense has basically 0 vertical passing attack, because Kyron Drones is not the kind of guy who can run a 3 to 4 read pass skeleton and get a completion downfield. The offensive line isn't good enough to protect, and the wide receivers aren't good enough to get open. On the third, and I believe it was 3rd and 5, where Kyron had the fumble / interception turnover, right? And this is how holistic the issues are. First off, the offensive line is pushed back like 6 yards right from the get-go. Wake Forest runs kind of a weird stunt, but the offensive line missed their assignments. So instead of like sticking to where they are and, they followed the guys doing the stunt, which allowed the gap for the defensive end to go all the way from the right side defensive end all into the left side B gap. So instead of sticking to your gap as an offensive lineman, you followed the guy who was stunting. You left it wide open for a pass rush. So not only did they reestablish the line of scrimmage 6 yards back, you missed your key. So now you have a free rusher on Kyron Drones. And then you look downfield, it should be a quick, that stunt shouldn't matter. That's a long developing stunt. You only got to get 5 yards.
He came all the way around on that.
And you look at the wide receivers and they're just standing there. They're standing there. None of them are open. None of them make a sharp cut into their route. It is slow. It is non-inventive, and the wide receivers do not look good. I mean that ball should have been 1-2 out.
We've heard criticism on the route trees. We've heard criticism on Fontel Mines as a coach. Yeah. We know that Fontel Mines can recruit.
Well,
but I haven't seen too many of his recruits on the field, to be perfectly honest. And second of all, the wide receivers can't catch like half the time.
We haven't seen any of them on there. I mean,
let's not do this right now. But
where was Cam Selden in this game? There's a lot of
problems. And that's the thing. Even with the bad O-line, even with the receivers that can't always catch, even with the injured starting running back, Terrion Stewart, you can get more out of Drones than we're getting. And that is Monty's job going forward. He has been dealing with a complete teardown. I mean, the coach got fired. He just got here, and he's trying to keep it together, like with Band-Aids and bubble gum. And he can't redesign the offense on top of all that.
Yeah.
After Georgia Tech, he might have a chance to change what they're doing. Maybe we'll see it in Georgia Tech.
Yeah, I mean, there were things
they can't
that they've
drop
done.
Drones back over and over again. They can't.
There were things that they've done this year that have worked really well and have looked really good and really in rhythm. We're just not seeing them consistently.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know how this offense scores 28 plus points in a game the rest of the year. I just don't see it. Like, we haven't seen any explosiveness outside of Terrion Stewart breaking tackles.
We need to lean. And you're right. Even if we did do that, even if we started running the triple option with Stewart and Hawkins and Drones, scoring 28 points a game might not be that easy with this offensive line.
Do we score 30 this year? against an FBS team?
I don't know, man. Cal is our best shot.
Yeah.
I mean, Wilcox is a good defensive coach, though. So, like,
Yeah.
I don't know. It would be nice to get some defensive touchdowns. Like, that's what I was hoping for in this game. I said at one point on Twitter, I was like, we need a defensive score.
This
we
game
need a special team score. Like,
I thought about this too when Isaiah Brown Murray had the tip ball interception, and I think he got pushed out at the 2-yard line. If he's able to somehow score there, it's probably a different football game.
it might change it. It might change it because that getting stuffed on the one might have changed the football game. That I think one of our callers, I think Kevin said that, but that might have been the turning point when we couldn't get in. I will say this: if Stewart can get his butt on the field healthy, he's running for 6.9 yards carry on the season. Hawkins is at 4.4.
Hawkins was good. Like Hawkins, I thought was decent in this game.
No, I'm sorry. That was in the game. On the season, Stewart's running for 8.6. 8.6 on the season. Hawkins is over 5 on the season. So I'll say it for posterity's sake, even though you know what I'm going to say. Run the damn ball.
Yep.
I just feel like I have to say it again.
I mean, I legitimately think a spread option offense is your best bet moving forward.
Monty's got to. He's an offensive guy. He'll have a chance after GT to get a bye week. Got to come up with something. I like Monty. I'm rooting for him so much in this spot because what he did at NC State to galvanize that team and get us a win on the road in the tough place to play against a tough offense was incredible. And he deserves credit for that. That's why we put the saying on a shirt, which you can find on the southwestvashop.com. But you can't fix all the mistakes we've had of 3 years plus of Pry in 3 weeks. And it was on clear display. Like, I don't blame Monty for what happened on the field because the guys were playing with effort. They were. And that's what comes from the coach. The coach can't make them not hit the quarterback late. Like he can't make them not shove out of bounds and be stupid. He can't make them not run into that guy on the PI when the ball is so poorly thrown. That's the only reason our guy ran into him, you know? So I think Coach Monty can get us another win, maybe 2 more wins. Maybe we ruin somebody's season because I actually believe that we've got a real coach. He's dealing with a heavy lift right now.
We'll see. Big chance this weekend.
You guys know the Roback code. It's 2DeepVT. That same code works for Compass Coffee, a sponsor we've had for a long time. In the DC area, Compass is one of the leaders. You'll see their places everywhere. But even if you don't live in the DC area, you can use code 2DeepVT at compasscoffee.com or on their app and get some great coffee delivered right to your door. Roback, same thing. They have the amazing polos, the women's stuff, tennis skirts, little dresses, all of the college teams. Best polos I own. Use code 2DeepVT at roback.com as well. Sam, I need another beer break from you. What do you got?
All righty. Here we got from Two Roads Brewing Company, the Rosemary Spawn Pumpkin Maple Pecan Ale. No way. Let's go.
Let's go. I just poured it into my cup.
We don't plan that, by the way. And I actually stopped at Kroger on my way home today.
That's wild,
to get beer. So, yeah, I've never had this before.
It really looks like a Jack and Coke in the glass.
Really cool, like creepy purple
the can is
orange black can. I like it. Feels very like early 2000s Halloween core, which I love. Dark. It is exactly what it says it is. Like sometimes the overly descriptive beers, I feel like are trying to market to just more people. But this does taste like pumpkin, maple, and pecans.
Yeah, which is the unique part about it, is it has the maple and the pecan flavor instead of the pumpkin and spices. And that maple comes through, I think.
It gives me a lot more like sweet potato casserole.
For sure.
Yeah.
I'm a big pecan guy too. Like that's probably my favorite.
So you're a pecan guy, not a pecan guy.
Pecan is what I say.
Okay.
Is that okay?
It is. I'm not the judge.
I feel like Josh Pate has a take on that, but
We should probably ask our good friend Rich Luttenberger, the English teacher, what he thinks, and then go with that.
But no, I mean, it's dark in the glass, but that maple comes through. The little bit of, is a pecan a legume or a nut?
It is a nut, I believe.
Okay.
That we need to ask Brett Smith about. The nut guy.
Yeah, Whitley's. Yes, exactly. Our friend Brett. But yeah, it's good. This Rosemary's, I think it's better because they have the regular Rosemary's Baby pumpkin beer, which is very good. And it's been around for a while. This is a new twist on it, the Spawn. A little bit heavy on the tongue, I'd say, though. Like, I would say, like, you're not going to go for more than one, probably.
Yeah, it's a good flight beer.
Yeah.
You know, I think 6 ounces of it would do the trick. It is 7.5% alcohol by volume. But again, like,
what are you giving this?
Man, it's tough because I do like it.
It is a little heavier than I thought it would be.
I like beer, and I've said this before on the show. Like, I give a lot of credit to breweries that go for like a really niche particular flavor and nail it. I think that's really fun. I'm probably not going to 3.5, 3.75. I was thinking I'm not going to go 4. I'm not going to go 4, but I also think
I do like it though. It's not that I dislike it at 3.5. It's not my favorite pumpkin, and we're talking pumpkin beer tonight. So this has
not enough pumpkin for me.
There's not. It's more maple than
pumpkin beer. It's not pumpkin. It's
got a 3.84 on Untapped. So we are below. We're coming in below the average.
Yeah,
but good beer. I would give it a try. I would say, like Sam said, flight beer. If you're doing a pumpkin beer tasting, absolutely include it. It's a fun one. Let's talk some Georgia Tech. Tecmo Bowl, 3:30 on ACC Network this weekend, 10-11. Before the season, Georgia Tech had a little bit of hype, but they had also lost a lot, and their offensive line wasn't expected to be as good. And Singleton went to Auburn. So they were a top 40-ish team, but not too much expected of them. Well, 5 weeks in, Sam, they're 5-0. They're a good team. And Haynes King has been carrying them, but not quite in the way I expected.
Yeah.
That's kind of how I'd put it. They're leaning on him heavily in the run game.
Yeah, they are. Again, they're kind of like using him sparingly in some of these games. Like, I think he just straight up didn't play a game for rest.
He skipped a game, yeah.
Kawhi Leonard style. But when he plays, he's just a field general, baller. Like, he's everything you want in a college quarterback. And he has some deficiencies in his game, but he just is such a winner. And for me, that's the part, like, you can't scheme around that, right? You can't. It is so intangible, and it's something that Georgia Tech has in this matchup that Virginia Tech does not. Like, that is just black and white. And
yeah, the caller talked about Kyron's body language, which is something that we've talked about many times. Haynes King is the anti-Kyron Drones. Like, he is the guy in the foxhole you want next to you. I've said this to Brett and Robert. We've gone back and forth. I've called Haynes King a top 5 quarterback in college football this year. So a little bit of that is me kind of like poking at them. But, like, if there was one game you had to win,
he's on the
every
list.
Other player was on the same, he would be in my top 5.
I think, real quick, my top 5 for that right now would be John Mateer.
Fair.
Yeah, give me John Mateer. Give me Haynes King. Maybe
Altmaier.
Maybe give me Altmaier. Maybe give me Jade Maeva.
Maeva's good. He's very good.
Give me Dante Moore. Dante Moore might lead that list.
Really? Okay.
Dude, he's a dog. He's got
Arch
a lot of
Manning
dog
making the list?
No. And then we'll go who's the quarterback at Navy? What's his name?
Horvath.
Yes, give me Horvath. Go Army beat Navy, but Blake Horvath. Very good.
You know who Haynes King reminds me of? This is a comp I just came up with on the fly. McSorley. Remember McSorley for Penn State?
Yes.
I see that.
Throw
Like
it on a dime.
he had that dog in him, and he got Penn State some wins with his legs. He used his arm. They won the Big Ten, I believe, that year, and
What
went to the
about
Rose Bowl and lost to USC. But
a little bit
McSorley would be a
of
good comp for him. But
a
a
little bit
lot
of
of the mentality. I'm sorry, am I interrupting you?
no, you're good. Go for it. Because I'm deep in
The
the weeds.
the mentality that Haynes King shows comes from Brent Key too. He's one of these coaching tough guys. I think he might have been an offensive lineman in his playing days. He's 23-16 now in year 3, or maybe no wait, year 4, 5-0, as I said earlier. And his press conferences are hilarious. Like Billy sent us one. He had the one early in the year about talking about Haynes King and talking about Clemson, I think it was, and just like we're focused. And he's just one of those football dudes. Like it's hard not to like Brent Key.
He's one of the football guys where he is so locked into football that he can't really function as a human outside of football. Like if you saw him in the grocery store, I don't think he can do a self-checkout line.
Yeah. There's a line from Kirby Smart. Someone was like, this is when Star Wars was coming out, the new ones and everything. And he's like, oh, Kirby, have you seen Star Wars? And he's like, what's Star Wars? like doesn't even know what it is. Like this, like tunnel vision only on football. Like that's Brent Key.
My Haynes King comp is Northern Illinois quarterback Jordan Lynch.
Oh, that's not bad. That is not bad.
I mean, just a run, like Jordan Lynch will build you the brick wall and then run through said brick wall for you. That's the kind of guy Haynes King is too.
So it's funny because King is not getting it done in the air, but the offense for Georgia Tech, 12th in the nation in yards per play, 10th in yards per carry. So they are doing the damn thing on offense. He's got and this was where it's confounding, right? Because his QBR is pretty solid. It's about the same as where it was last year, mid 70s, high 70s, but his passer rating is way down. It's down 20 points from last year. It's 11th in the ACC. A 135 passer rating for someone like Haynes King is, I don't know why it's down so much. Is it just because they lost Singleton? Because they've got a lot of other receivers that are back.
They don't throw the ball downfield. I mean, almost every single completion has been within 5 yards of the line of scrimmage, and so that's going to hurt QBR at the time. Their passing plays are like glorified run plays, pretty much. And I don't think it's a defense that's going to really test Virginia Tech's maybe biggest weakness right now, and that is the downfield passing game. I think it hasn't really been exposed because of the style of offenses Virginia Tech has played, but even in those games, it's been a weakness. However, I think up front, this team is much more similar to Vanderbilt than any team Virginia Tech has played so far.
The offensive line didn't take the step back. It took a little step back, but it's not bad by any means. In fact, when you're doing 10th in yards per carry, and I think they're in the mid 20s in tackles for loss allowed, they've been a very stout unit. It's just weird to see Haynes King with 3 pass TDs in 5 games.
Well, I'd also point out that he didn't play against Gardner Webb.
True.
And I believe he didn't play the full game.
So it's four games, maybe 3.5 games. He does have 7 rush TDs. So he's got 10 total TDs.
A lot of their offensive statistics, like the yards per play, yards per rush, came against Gardner Webb and Temple, which should be noted. Now,
and they also haven't played. I mean, yes, they got the Clemson win. Clemson's not that good. So Wake,
7-point win at Colorado. Colorado's not that good.
Wake, Colorado, and Clemson. Those
Pretty
are
much.
their big wins. This team is 5-0 and they're ranked number 13, I believe. It might,
their opponent adjusted metrics aren't great.
We do a national show, Sam. We see this kind of team and we're like, they're fake good.
Yeah, I mean, they might fake good their way to a playoff spot.
They might.
But I see this team a lot more similar to like what we saw SMU last year, where we're like, yeah, you're a good team. You got some players. You got a good coach. But if you got to play a playoff game like at Ohio State, it's not going to be close. Now, I think this team has, again, gamer mentality to them. And one issue they have had with Brent Key is playing to the level of their competition.
Absolutely.
It has bit them in the butt a couple times, including a loss to Bowling Green. But
Terrion Stewart.
oh, did he play on that team? That's interesting. Way to bring that up, Pete. How many yards did he run for? 147 ish.
It was a lot of yards. It was a lot of yards.
But this is a different defensive Georgia Tech team, I will say, than that.
They are.
Yeah, they are. They're different.
We'll go to their defense in just a second. At running back, you got Jamal Haynes. He's 92nd nationally in rush yards per game. Not very good. You know why? Because Haynes King is 14. Haynes King is up there with the best running backs in the country in terms of rush yards per game. Like, he's at 95 yards per game rushing. So Haynes is very good. He's just not getting the ball. And at wide receiver, you got Rutherford. He's back and is tied for the reception lead. They took in these 2 FIU transfers. Well, the one of them, Eric Rivers, he's building on what he did at FIU. He's tied with Rutherford with 16 receptions. And then Canyon actually leads the team in yards, and he's a sophomore.
Yeah. I mean, they do have good receivers. It's not like they aren't passing because they don't have the talent for it. It's just not in their offensive scheme, but they do have, I mean, Rivers is a dude.
Yeah,
he's good.
They're not using their tight ends, and we said the offensive line is above average. It's a good offensive line.
They were one of the most explosive teams in the country using the tight end last year, and they lost their top 2 tight ends. And instead of trying to replace that, they've just moved on. So I think that's why you've seen the offense be a little less explosive and lean a little more on the run game and short passing game than they did last year. So that's part of the reason that their tight ends aren't as statistically significant as they were last year.
Good point. On defense, they're 49th in yards per play. And this is significant, okay? Because 2 years ago, this was a really bad defense. Last year, they upped their game, but they were still really bad in the back end. Well, they brought in defensive coordinator Gideon, who is a former safety. You figure the secondary is going to get better, and it has. They are 39th in opposing passer rating. That is like up from 100 or something. I mean, they were really poor in the back end. Against the run, however, and this is good for us, good for Terrion Stewart if he's healthy, and Hawkins, 83rd in yards per carry against. They can be run on. It's not a great rush defense. They also do not sack the quarterback. They do not get turnovers. Like, this is anti-Havoc team.
Number 103 in Havoc in the country.
Okay.
To give you a little perspective, if you watch the Hokies a lot this year, Virginia Tech's number 67.
And we're not exactly tearing it up Havoc-wise.
No. Only 10% of Georgia Tech's plays end in a tackle for loss,
sack,
interception, fumble, sack, any pass defended, anything like that. They're a very bend, don't break defense. We'll give you 2 or 3 yards, but no more, no less.
I'm going to say
kind of how they are.
I'm going to say a couple of nice things about their players on defense, and then I'm going to say why this is a good defense for Virginia Tech. Kyle Efford is back again. All ACC guy, led Georgia Tech in tackles the last 2 years. Lightsey is playing really well for them. He's second in tackles. And in the back, that's where they're improved. It's because they have these, one, maybe a more defensive back-friendly DC, but two, Armani Harvey, Clayton Powell-Lee, Omar Daniels. These are veterans, and they're making plays. Like, Daniels has the only interception on the team, but he's 4th in tackles. Powell-Lee, 3rd in the team in tackles. And Harvey's a good tackler too. So the back end is good. It's up front. Vandenberg, Stone, these guys are okay. They don't get sacks. And if I was drawing up a defense for Virginia Tech to face, it would be a team that doesn't get sacks and is below average against the run.
Yeah.
That is what this is.
Yeah. If we see a healthy Terrion Stewart, am I crazy to say that could be a 2-touchdown swing in this game? Terrion Stewart healthy for 4 quarters?
As much as I like Hawkins, they're not the same.
No, this is what's so frustrating about this Virginia Tech team is if Stewart's healthy, it's a totally different football team.
I know.
Now the thing that I think is a little bit scary about this game is where's the mentality of this team? We know that they're going to give effort, but are they going to give controlled effort? Are they going to be playing their assignments? Are they what does our scout team look like now that you've had so many guys elevated? What does our scout team look like? What does the whole process of this look like? Are we trying to mix and match too many guys to different positions? And all right, we don't know if this guy's healthy or not. So who's getting reps here and there? Like those kind of questions are not things you can have going up against a team that is just regimented and used to winning. That's maybe my biggest fear outside of anything talent related for this game.
I think that's an excellent question. It's a similar question to what we had going into NC State, going into Wake Forest. Like, will they be focused? Well, coming off of NC State, a big win, we see a bunch of college guys feel good about themselves and lack focus the following week.
Yeah.
Now they're going on the road again. Whatever Monty did last time, us against the world mentality, he got them focused and playing really well at NC State. This is a similar situation to that. It's hot. It's going to be hostile. Bobby Dodd sucks to play in. Mm-hmm. It's 3:30. Great time if you're the opposing fans to be just the right amount of rowdy. But he got it done at Carter Finley. I feel like because of what just happened, they will be more focused. Terrion Stewart is going to be absolutely key to us having some good success on offense. Yeah. I feel like he's okay based on the social media stuff.
You'd hope.
It's hard. It's hard to say. You know what else is weird about when he got hurt in the game? I don't know if you noticed this. He ran the ball. He was on the ground, and then one of the players from Wake came in and hit him late, and all of a sudden he was injured. And he got I wondered if that's when it happened. But regardless, it looked like it was a shoulder, upper body thing that was bothering him rather than a lower body.
Yeah.
Their offense is flawed. It is potent, but it is flawed. You talked about them not going downfield. King is terrifying to prepare for, but if his passing's not going to be there, that is our biggest weakness, as you said.
Yeah, I don't think he's from a schematic standpoint. I don't think this Georgia Tech offense is. It's not Vanderbilt or ODU schematically. I think they're much, much more similar to South Carolina.
Okay.
And also similar to South Carolina, they got a dude at quarterback who might just run you over, and you might have the perfect call defensively, and you might play all your keys, and it might not matter.
And he's willing to run.
Yeah, and that's the thing for this Virginia Tech team I'm a little worried about, because I don't really like there are some guys on this team where I'm like, oh, please, God, do not run towards them. Do not run towards them. Please, God, don't. Because I know how it's going to end. You know who I think needs to have a really big game? Gilliam, Copeland,
the big boys.
Need Heisman, Fall. Get in there, make some plays. I think it's too many games in a row where they've kind of just eaten up space. We need those guys to make some plays in the backfield. We need those guys to really clog things up and make it difficult, because I felt like last week it was they weren't really getting blown off the ball. The run defense was fine, but they weren't really getting back there and making plays. And those guys are too talented not to be making 2 or 3 plays a game.
I agree. And I want to see Laws out there too.
Yeah, man.
That's someone to me that is hungry and can make plays. And I just want to see his motor out there. So that would be another one on the defensive line I'm looking for. Cephas just has to have a great game. He needs to be on his game. Hopefully he's been studying the film enough to slow King down. We must get pressure. The linebackers need to play really well. And if Caleb Woodson decides he ever wants to be part of the team again, this would be a great time to do it.
This is it.
This would be a great time.
You're running out of football games here, buddy.
So before the season, thinking about this game, I thought it was going to be a higher scoring loss for Virginia Tech. Both teams kind of go at it, and we lose maybe a shootout-y kind of game. I think this is the opposite now. I think this is a lower scoring affair. Their offense isn't quite what I thought it was, and ours certainly isn't. I like the under in this game. It's 55.5.
Yeah. Yeah. I think your only fear for that overhitting is a Vanderbilt situation, and I don't see that happening. Yeah.
What do you think about the line in general?
14.5.
14.5, Georgia Tech.
So on one, right, this is a terrible answer, but on one hand, Georgia Tech plays to the level of their competition. They have a 1-point win against Wake Forest, a 3-point win against Clemson, a 7-point win against Colorado. So this isn't a team that looks like they're really built to blow anybody out.
Right. Like, why are they going to cover now if they've not been
Yeah.
covering that number?
On the other hand,
Mm-hmm.
I think they are a significantly better football team than Virginia Tech. And it's on the road. And I don't trust who Tech is going to be able to put out there on the field. Like, because I just don't know. And for me, like, if I'm taking orange and maroon glasses off, this would be a stay away game for me.
Oh, of course. Yeah.
That line is too big, you know?
But if you have to pick it for a pick'em, which you do because it's in the pick'em.
I'm doing it because I get I get 14 and a half.
Yeah,
so I am.
It's
Because I
14
can
and a
see
half in the pick'em.
28-4, 20, give me like 27-14, 27-17, like feels right in this game.
Yeah.
I think it is going to come down to, like, if Stewart plays, Virginia Tech will be in this game. If Stewart isn't 100% and he's not playing, or he's only getting 5 or 6 carries, I don't see how Virginia Tech moves the ball.
I like that we're on the same page about Stewart. I like how important he is. And I wish the coaching staff would seemingly understand that, because I don't know if
I
they
think
have
there's been a
from Jump
behind
Street.
closed doors real frustration with his health. I don't think it's been directed at Terry and Stewart. I think they knew how good this guy was, and it was really disappointing that he wasn't 100% through fall camp.
That's fair. I did a little bit of research going into this series against Georgia Tech. Tecmo Bowl has had a lot of great games, a lot of close games. Last year, you'll remember, we beat them by 15 points. It was 21-6. Now, they had a backup quarterback, but even that being said, we don't typically beat Georgia Tech by 15 points. They don't typically beat us by 15 points. That's what would need to take place in order for them to cover this spread. Since 2008, we've played them 15 times. We've only missed 2 years, and that was like because of COVID and something else. 9 one-score games. 9 out of 15 one-score games. 18 and 19 were blowouts either way. We shut them out in 19 when Bud was having his last hurrah. And in 18, they kicked the crap out of us when we had one of our worst defenses ever. There was one other game that was over 15, and that was last year. So 3 games were within 2 touchdowns. So let me break it down for you. 9 one-score, 9 within 2 touchdowns, or 3 within 2 touchdowns, 3 huge margins. My point is, in the entire 20-game series playing Georgia Tech, they have beat us by more than 14 one time. And that was 2018. So 1 out of 20 times, they've beaten us by the margin that is this spread.
Yeah.
Past results don't dictate.
Do not indicate.
Yeah. But it's the Tecmo Bowl, man. Like at 14 and a half, like
weird
it just
things
seems,
happen in this series.
It seems
There's
crazy
a lot
to
of
me to not
upsets.
take Virginia Tech here. And you think about us being, what was it, 10.5-point dogs 2 weeks ago?
Yep.
Is that right?
Winning outright is 10.5-point dogs. Yep.
I feel like this is similar. Like absolutely no one thinks we can win this game. Nobody.
Yeah,
and
I don't.
And this team was in overtime with Wake Forest, a team that everyone who watched the game thinks we should have beat. Like Georgia Tech and Virginia Tech, they're not that far apart.
No, and I agree with you. Like talent wise, Tech's right there.
They have a much better quarterback.
I think they are a much better coach team. I think they have a much better quarterback. I think they're playing at home. And I think they have just a general sense of identity that if this gets to a close game, I'm banking on Georgia Tech, not Virginia Tech. Now, if you're a betting man, 14.5, you don't care much about the result.
No, that's kind of what I'm getting at. Like, I just think the line is absurd.
It would be a, like, I think there's a very small percentage chance. Like, let's call it a 20% chance that Georgia Tech runs away with this one, I would say. I think it's much more likely this is a 2-touchdown game or 2 possession game.
Historically, there's a 1 in 20 chance they run away with it.
That's 5% for y'all at home.
But it could happen because
it could.
we Well, one, this is one of the best Georgia Tech teams of the past several years. And two, this is one of the worst Virginia Tech teams of the past 30 years. And so, yes, if it's going to happen any given year, it's this year. But to me, Sam, I bet on, I pick games every week. I see stinky lines. We talked about the New Mexico state line just last week. There's stinky lines all the time. And to me, this one stinks. Like if I'm an outside bettor and I see Georgia Tech favored against Virginia Tech 14.5, that line stinks. So do you dive into the stink and take GT, or do you go the opposite way? I don't know. I can't. Yeah,
it's a tough game.
We've broken as much down as we can, but
you're relying on a team that is really, really messy to be not messy.
I'll put it this way. Well, I don't pick Virginia Tech games on the pod anymore. Me and Rob used to pick them against the spread a lot. Eventually, it just felt like we shouldn't be doing that. This is in the pick 'em, and I'm picking Virginia Tech, and I'm not hesitating. That doesn't mean jack shit to any of you. That's just what I'm going to do.
Yeah, I'm with you.
All right, week 7 picks. Let's do the other ones. Ohio State at Illinois. It's a fun game. Illinois, also 14.5 point dogs.
Yeah.
And they're at home.
I don't think it matters. I think you're seeing historic levels of defense from Ohio State right now, and I don't think this Illinois offense is the one to break it open. I also think Illinois probably, if that game against USC is played at like 3:30, they probably lose that game to USC too.
I'm taking Illinois.
All right.
I think they cover 14.5 at home. Outside of losing all their back end guys and getting blown out by Indiana, which was bad. Maybe I'm stupid for this. I'm taking Illinois. Indiana at Oregon. What an awesome game this is.
Awesome game.
9.5 point favorites at home.
Is it 9.5 now?
That's what
I thought it was 7.5.
That's the pick 'em, dude. I'm just going off the pick 'em.
That's a lot of puntos.
Pocket full of pesos.
You're not going to make a lot of money betting against Oregon, especially this year, especially Oregon at home.
But
Indiana team's
will you do it?
I'm system play bet Oregon.
That's
system play bet Oregon. Indiana, you're okay. If Indiana loses this game, they are still in the playoff.
So
this is a only win situation for Indiana, I think.
Do the Illinois and Indiana picks go together here? See what I'm saying? Because Indiana crushed Illinois.
Mm-hmm.
So if I am taking Illinois to cover against Ohio State, I have to take Indiana to cover against Oregon. And then I lose both picks.
I think if you're looking at this matchup, Indiana-Oregon, you take Indiana plus the points. If you are betting the system, you bet Oregon at home.
Okay. That's fair.
Mm-hmm.
Indiana has just been
insane.
I mean, they've been insane. And even in the game
outside of barely beating Iowa on the road, are we a little bit worried about that's a long trip?
Dude, that Iowa thing, one, it's Iowa, and we thought Iowa might win that game, and they didn't. You're
about to say it's Iowa and Iowa City, and I'm going to respond with it's Oregon and Eugene.
Well, fair enough. You're
Okay,
right.
but
That was what I was going to say.
Yeah.
But the thing about that game was Indiana was coming off of the crushing of Illinois. It was a critical come down spot, and they didn't come down. They won the game. And so I feel like Cignetti's going to have them going. Though Cignetti has failed in some of the bigger spots over the last couple of years. So
can we rewind to Illinois, Ohio State just to put it in perspective?
Sure.
How many total points do you think Ohio State has allowed in 5 games this year? 3 of them against power conference opponents.
5 games, 3 against power
in
conference.
5 games.
3. I mean, I could do the calculation in my head, but let's say it's 25.
It is exactly 25 points.
Okay.
In 5 games. Nobody has scored over 10.
That's low.
They haven't allowed a touchdown since August.
To Texas, one of the best teams in the country.
They allowed
Arch Manning, who's not very good.
They haven't allowed a touchdown in now 4, 8, 12, 16, and 17 quarters.
Listen, man. You got Luke Altmaier, super senior quarterback going against the freshman. I think they can cover 14.5. I don't think they necessarily win the game, but I think they can cover the spread.
Good luck to him. Good luck, Luke Altmaier. Everyone's rooting for you, buddy.
I'm taking Indiana too. Next game, NC State at Notre Dame. Notre Dame 22.5-point favorites. Isn't Notre Dame's weakness the secondary?
You would think so, but they were just, I mean, they suffocated Boise State in that game. I mean,
that's a G5 team.
That's a good G5 team.
I know.
I mean, to 28 to only allowing 7 points to a team in 2025 is pretty tough. Now, they did allow 315 yards in that game. Boise had 4 turnovers.
22.5 points?
It's too many points. It's too many points.
I'm taking NC State.
Yeah.
Arkansas at Tennessee. Tennessee 13.5-point favorites. Who knows what's going on? This is
Tennessee.
This is an impossible game to pick, but you have to take Tennessee just because of what's going on. Florida at A&M. 8.5-point favorites is A&M. Florida coming off the big win. A&M also coming off a big win, but not as big.
Yeah, A&M.
A&M.
Yeah.
This could be.
You're not getting 2 good games from Lagway in a row.
This could be a big win by A&M. And then South Carolina at LSU.
Ew.
And it's 10.5.
LSU. I mean,
why is it that big? Like, I know
which team's been more disappointing.
I mean, Scar has been more disappointing, but it's like LSU, their offense stinks.
So does South Carolina's. This is a weird game. I'm not picking this game. It's going to be chaotic and ugly. Like something stupid is going to happen.
Well, you have to pick it for the pick 'em, but you don't have to bet on it.
It's 10.5.
I'm taking Scar 10.
Yeah, I'm taking Scar 10.5. Yeah,
because I don't know, man. LSU's offense beating anyone, like they couldn't beat Florida by more than 10.
This game is going to be decided by a questionable officiating decision in the fourth quarter.
Sounds like 2025.
Yep.
All right, before we sign off, we need to do our last beer break. Do you have a third beer?
Do I have a third beer? Of course I have a third beer.
Hell yeah. We just so happen to have the same beer on the last one, so you guys aren't getting 6 different, but that was fun.
Do we have the same one for this one?
Who knows?
I don't think so.
Who knows? I'll go first.
You go first because I think this one is also maybe a little fizzy, so I got to be careful with it.
I am drinking,
if you don't know,
the vanilla pumpkin ale from Schlafly or Schlafly. I'm not sure how people like to pronounce it, but this is a St. Louis, Missouri beer. And if you ask people about pumpkin beer, one of the first ones they'll say is the best one is Schlafly. Schlafly pumpkin beer. You tell I've had too much pumpkin beer, but their original pumpkin beer is one of the best on the market. Every year it has been for a long, long time. I had never seen the vanilla, so I went for it. And when it pours in the glass, it almost like fizzes like a soda, but you can see it's got a nice color on it. I wouldn't say it's like vanilla tasting, but there's a certain smoothness and I don't know how I describe it exactly, but smoothness or creaminess more so than the regular Schlafly pumpkin ale. The vanilla has a really cool bottle though, and it's got this like flannel pattern on it, and I'd recommend this thing. I mean, if you like the original, you're going to like this one too. I don't know if I can go 4, but I'm going to go 3.75 because it's so close to the other one, but like almost more of a cream ale. That's kind of what I would say about the vanilla. What do you got?
All righty. This is from my personal favorite beer city in the world. We have from Lone Pine Brewing in Portland, Maine, the Pumpkin Party Pumpkin Ale. I have never had it before. I have had a Lone Pine before, but I haven't had this one. It says it's brewed with pumpkin and spices. It's only 4.2%, and it looks really nice and clean. It looks a lot like that Devil's Backbone.
Mhm.
I've never had it. It smells very spicy, like cinnamon, brown sugar, nutmeg, allspice. Like,
Man, what do you think?
you can definitely tell it tastes like a Maine beer where it is crisp. Like, crisp is all get out.
Okay.
Really good. It smells a lot spicier than it is. Sits on the tongue well. 3.75. If you want a pumpkin beer that is lighter, crisper, maybe if it's like one of those abnormally warm October days, great beer to have. Really nice. Really nice.
Yeah, Portland comes correct on most of their beers.
Yeah. Really good one.
It's so competitive there in terms
Yes.
of like opening a brewery. Like, it's not easy to have a brewery in Portland, Maine. So if you have one, and I will say the original pumpkin beer that I loved, and probably most people love, the Shipyard Pumpkinhead.
Yeah, exactly.
Out of
So,
Portland.
you have so many of the more well-respected names up there in Portland that it is hard to make one to have one that's sold here in Virginia is kind of wild too, but also to kind of beat out, Allagash and Maine Beer Company and all those guys.
Let me ask you this, Sam. Have you ever made your own pumpkin beer? Meaning, you basically I've done this a couple different times. At Thanksgiving, you carve out a pumpkin, you fill it with beer, you spigot it, and then you have beer from the pumpkin. Like this, me and my cousin have done this many years. Have you ever bored a pumpkin and poured beer into it?
No. Do I need to do that?
Yeah, you need to do it.
Okay.
And you just, I can show you the right spigots and stuff to get, because you got to like carve the pumpkin just so, whatever. But it just hit me that this vanilla pumpkin ale, the nutmeg, the spices, what we do is we carve it out, you clean out all the guts, you pour. I usually go with Yinling or a Boston lager, like a very plain, darker lager.
Okay.
And you want to it kind of soaks up the pumpkin flavor over an hours or overnight. And then you put in nutmeg, you put in cinnamon, you put in all this stuff, and it comes out, and it actually comes out great. Like, it's actually shocking how good it comes out. Now,
does it stay carbonated? Kind of.
It will come out more like a cream ale, it'll come out less carbonated, and it will come out more watery. It's, there's water in the sides of the pumpkin. So you need to use a little bit of a powerful beer. Like, you want to use a 6%, like Boston Lager's as low as you want to go on the alcohol scale. You want to use something stronger. But that's the kind of vibe I'm getting from this. Like, that nutmeg really comes through on this vanilla.
Nice.
But yeah, it's fun. I got pictures of it. Like, we've done it so many times. I've done it at parties. Like, you crack the
pumpkin parties.
Oh, dude, no, like a Halloween party. I've showed up with the pumpkin party. There you go. You show up with the pumpkin. You ever done this? You carve it right on the spot in front of everybody. Then you fill it with beer and spigot it. It's a crowd pleaser.
It sounds like a party. I'm into it. Yeah, I think we did a good job of like covering the gamut of pumpkin beers too. We got the like light stuff and the heavier stuff as well.
Dude, we did everything this episode. We did wrestling, we did some coaching, we did pumpkin beers, we did Georgia Tech, we did Wake, everything. So thank you guys for watching one of our favorite episodes of the year. Make sure you subscribe. Sons of Saturday on YouTube. Sons of Saturday, the podcast feed with Billy and Pat. You can find their stuff, but also Too Deep. As I always say, make sure you're signed up, Apple Podcast, follow us on Spotify, rate, review, subscribe, all that stuff. That really helps us. And do you have any final words, Sam?
You can check out sonsofsaturday.com. We have a lot of really awesome articles up there, and we're starting up our basketball coverage as well. So you're going to have a lot of basketball on YouTube, on the podcast feeds, and on the website. So go check that out. We have an awesome team of writers. And yeah, I'm going to be putting out some different types of YouTube content here over the next couple of weeks, some advanced stat stuff on a new model that I'm working on, as well as some more funny stuff and some gambling picks and all that stuff. So check out the YouTube and like the YouTube Shorts page as well.
if you made it till the end. Use code word KING in the comments. King is the word you want to put on Spotify in the comments or in YouTube if you're watching there in the comments. And we appreciate all of our diehard listeners.
Yes, thank you so
Koozies
much.
that are being mailed out, you will get them soon. I promise. They are coming. They're coming. Don't worry. Soon. Until next time, go Hokies.
Go Hokies.